And this is something the DIYer can totally do themselves, but there are a few things you're going to want to be aware of before you even order the toilet, unless you're going from an exact replacement. So if you're going, say, from a standard, say you have a Thetford, and you're just going to take a Thetford out and put a same Thetford in, you should be very plug and play. It is literally going to be 2 bolts. Unscrew your water line, take those 2 bolts, make sure your water's off, and then you're going to pull the old toilet out, clean everything up very well, and set the new toilet in, tighten it down to manufacturer specifications, and then reconnect your water, and you should be done. Should take you half hour to an hour, depending on your skill set and your level of engagement and how fast you go. Today we are going to be changing a Thetford that has a stripped pedal, which is a known issue on some Thetfords, and the customer could have replaced the whole base unit, but they just decided that they had good reviews on the Dometic 310. This is a toilet we like to install, and we had to do a little bit of measuring, so we checked some manufacturer measurements on the Dometic 310 as well as the Thetford. These are exchangeable, but we may have to, once we get behind this toilet, we may have to cut down our PEX line or increase our PEX line, depending, because on the Dometic, the water connector is just a little bit higher than it is on the Thetford. Sometimes you have a little bit of wiggle room on moving that hose up and down within your floorboard. If you can do that and you have enough play, then you can move it up the couple inches you need extra to go from a Thetford to a Dometic. If not, you will have to do a little bit of plumbing, so be aware of that. Make sure you're doing all of your measurements beforehand. Look at your manufacturer specifications and make sure your depth of your current toilet and the depth of the toilet you're going to are compatible. Like on this situation, the Dometic 310 is going to work in the application we're doing, but say we wanted to go to a Dometic 320, has a bigger bowl, it's more of what they will call a full-timer's RV toilet. That wouldn't be too deep for this application. It would actually hit the wall, and that will not work for us. So the Dometic 310 is going to be a good solution, and we're going to get after it right now. So as you can see, you don't have a lot of room to maneuver around the toilet, as most RV bathrooms are. So this one's very close to the wall. Also, the pedal is on that side, so generally you can use a socket to get the nut off that holds the toilet down. But on this particular model, we'll have to use a wrench, and it's going to be very tight between that wall. But again, it's 2 bolts down there, and then in the back you'll see the water connector. Those are your 3 connectors that hold this toilet in place. So the current connector for the water is, the old toilet, the Thetford, was 8 inches to center, and the new one is 5 inches to center. So we are going to shorten our PEX connector up because it is hard PEX, not the flexible tubing type. We're going to be shortening this up by 3 inches to fit our new toilet. Okay, so now we've shortened our line and we've reduced it by 3 inches in order to fit the new toilet. The mounting hardware for the Dometic is attached to the pedal. This is the bolts to fasten it to the flange, and the covers, the decorative covers that go over the bolts, and the caps that go over the end of the toilet here. And now that we readjusted our PEX connector for our water supply, and once we get this in here, then we'll start tightening it to the manufacturer specifications in the book, and we'll be able to test her out. Okay, so we've got our water line on. So when you're tightening this water line up, don't want to force it. It should go on very easy and you snug it on. Don't over tighten it. But if it's resisting, that means it's probably not straight. So keep an eye on it. And we want to put that water line on before we tighten the toilet down, just to give us a little bit of mobility as we're getting the new line hooked up. But that line should go screw on nice and easy to the connector on the back of the toilet. That's the toilet valve, so we don't want to stress it. And if you're stressing it or trying to force it on there, rethink how you have your PEX cut or adjusted. If you have the flexible white hose, you're going to be in really good shape. But if you have to do this and you're not comfortable with plumbing, think about a qualified RV technician or even a plumber to come in and do that for you. Okay, so now we've got our toilet is tightened down per the manufacturer instructions. Again, look at the manual that comes with the toilet, and it will tell you exactly how to go back and forth and tighten those bolts and snug them down so you don't over tighten them, but you get a good seal. The seal for these toilets generally is already on the stem that connects to the floor. Make sure you get a good seat on your flange when you're putting that in. So now we have our water hooked up and turned on. We don't have any leaks. So now we're going to charge our toilet. So we're going to just push down on this a little bit, start getting our water filled up in the valve. Okay, so we have a good amount of water in here. So now we're checking 2 things. We're going to check that, one, that the seal is holding water in here, that we're not leaking in the back at the valve, so we're going to check that next. Everything looks good back there, and we'll just let this water sit for a few moments. So at the end of the cycle, you'll see a little bit of water comes out. So what happens on this particular toilet, water fills the rim of the bowl, and then after you're done flushing and you let the flap close, what it does is you'll get that water will start to settle, but it gives you about 1.5 inches of water in the valve area, so it's an odor barrier. So nice thing about the Dometic 310, you don't really run it to a dry valve, so it keeps the water at the seal, keeps an odor barrier for you, and as you'll see, it takes about 15-20 seconds, and then the excess water that was filling the ring or the rim of the bowl slowly goes into the bottom of the bowl where the flap seal is, and then you're good to go. And one of the other great features that full-time RVers love, and who doesn't, is the slow close lid.